So a lot of people think the UFC has been declining over the last, couple of years, the last few months, maybe the last year in particular, okay? I want to make the UFC what it was. I want to make the UFC the biggest sport in the world. MMA, whatever the fuck. And this is how I'm going to do it. If you make me, I'm not campaigning for UFC president or fucking anything like that. But if I was the UFC president, this is what I would change. And I have 6 things I'm going to discuss in today's video. Number 1. Any performance-enhancing drugs found in your system will result in an instant ban for life in the sport. I have no room for fucking drug cheats, and I have absolutely no room for keeping them around, okay? John Jones, you knew we were going there. You all know I don't really like John Jones. John Jones is the most notorious drug cheat the sport has ever seen. John Jones is also considered one of the greatest fighters, if not the greatest fighter in a lot of people's eyes. In absolutely no fucking world can someone who has failed multiple steroids tests and proven to have performance-enhancing drugs found in their system will be the GOAT of my sport. That's what I'm saying. John Jones would have received a lifetime ban many fucking years ago. And you need to make a fucking example out of people like that, okay? So, what I would do, if you have failed drugs tests before, so let's say I get president, let's say I'm president of UFC, you know what I mean? And, hey buddy, yeah, go ahead. You're Dana White. I'm Dana White over here, okay? What I would do is, if you failed a previous steroids test in the past, I wasn't president back then, okay? I can't change that. But the first person to fail a steroids test while I am the president of the UFC will be made a fucking example out of, and they will get slapped with a lifetime ban from the sport to never return, okay? Now, a lot of people will sit there and say, oh, well, there's tainted supplements and things like that. I hear you, okay? You should know exactly what is going in your body. When you are at the highest level, you're in a sport like this, and you know the testing that's available. TJ Dillashaw, Brian Ortega, John Jones, Anderson Silva would have been wiped from the face of the earth in the UFC landscape if I was the president of the sport. They would have never fought again. From the first steroids test, Jones failed. Okay, never mind the third. 3 performance-enhancing drugs failed tests with years outside the octagon. TJ Dillashaw would have never came back and fought Corey Sandhagen. Would have never came back and fought Aljamain Sterling. The Cejudo fight would have been the last one. I can't remember which fight fucking Anderson Silva popped for steroids in, if I'm being honest with you. But he would have never got back to that cage. That's 3 people a lot of people consider some of the greatest fighters ever. TJ Dillashaw was the bantamweight GOAT up until then. Anderson Silva is considered the middleweight GOAT. And John Jones is considered the actual GOAT of the sport. 3 drug cheats. 3. Brian Ortega as well fought for multiple undisputed world title fights after that. Max Holloway, Volkanovski, co-main event in Sphere. He openly admitted taking it. He said, knew I wasn't allowed to take it, still took it. There's no fucking room for that. If I was president, all of that shit would be banned from the start. Okay, Conor Benn is another example who should never, ever be allowed to fight again. I don't get this thing of you get slapped with steroids and, oh, well, you know, a nice little suspension's sufficient. No! Bro, this is fucking dangerous shit. People die in that fucking ring and shit. Okay, I have no room for it. And I don't get this thing of, oh, well, you know, 6-month suspension for failing for a steroid test, or, you know, a year out to get... A year? Bro, what? Some fighters just take a year out in general. Never mind for a fucking steroids test. Okay? There are plenty of clean... Look at Volkanovski. You think Volkanovski's ever taken a steroid in his life? There are plenty of clean champions. You don't need that shit unless you're mentally weak. I say drugs are for mentally weak people. Steroids are no different, okay? I have fucking zero time for that shit, and that shit will get abolished quickly with me in charge, okay? The next one. If you are medically able to fight and you have no personal problems that could intervene with a fight, you are going to get a fight booked. If you can pass a medical and you sit there and say, no, I haven't got anything wrong with my personal life, we're gonna book you a fight. There's none of this waiting around bullshit. Absolutely none of this waiting around bullshit. This thing of Ilia Topuria, I'll use him as an example. He took fucking no damage against Charles Oliveira. He moved up a weight class and he said, if the UFC want me in there by the end of the year, I will be in there. Brother, you should be ready to go October. Why not September? Even there's no fucking pay-per-view. Actually, that's why. If this was Volkanovski, if Volkanovski had done that, he would have been like, you fucking get me in there for fucking September, mate. You know, give me both, Zach. Give me fucking anyone. I just want to fight. I want to fight. Me and you both know Volkanovski was active. I mean, you both know Israel Adesanya was active. They fought every 4 months. Kamaru Usman fought every 4 months. There's no fucking room for this inactivity bullshit, especially when we have a star like Ilya. We need you in there. You took no damage. You moved up a weight class. I'm not saying get in there next week, okay? But there should be no reason you're not in there in 4 months after. Do you know what I mean? It's been nearly a month now since, you know, you knocked out Charles. There's no reason that you should not be back in there in 3 months, 4 months. Absolutely none. These 7-8 months layoffs. Fair enough if you're injured. That's totally different. If a doctor says he's cooked, his arm is cooked, he needs a few months rest, that's different. But if you're just sitting there, okay, counting up the money, that's going to go quick. That's going to go quick, okay? I think if you are medically able, physically able, okay, and mentally able to compete, we're going to book you a fight. If I can do your medical and the doctor says there's nothing wrong with this guy, okay, he's good to go. And you sit there and say, oh, nothing wrong with my personal life, booked. Booked! What's the hold up? What's the hold up? Oh, tired? You're a UFC fucking champion. You know what being tired is like, okay? Like I said, I'm not expecting these people to get in there a month later, okay? Unless you're Joshua Van, you're a fucking stud, okay? I'm not saying that. But there's no reason someone like Topuria should not be fighting 4 months later. There's no reason. There's no reason. Islam Makhachev, if he moves up and he doesn't look and his weight cuts are fine, no reason. No reason we're not fighting every 4 months. Let's get moving here. Let's get fucking moving. Inactivity, fuck it. I fucking hate inactive fighters. If you're injured, totally different scenario. Totally different. I'm not talking about injuries here. I'm talking about people that are just inactive. Okay? I can't stand inactivity. Let me move that. I can't stand inactivity. I want to see you in there. I want to see you compete. I want to see you fight the best fighters in the world. There's no room for inactivity in our sport, in my opinion. Okay? There's absolutely no for it. That's the second thing. Third thing. If you're a ranked fighter, UFC fighter, and turn down a fight, you will be removed from the rankings. One thing I hate more than that is people that turn down fucking fights. Just flat out, I don't want to fight that guy. Why don't you want to fight that guy? You're in the sport. This is your fucking job. I don't get this. Bro, I always say it, bro. Imagine me turning up to work and be like, nah, I'm not doing my job today. I'll do it tomorrow. You'd be fired on the spot. You would be fired. And I had that same mentality for this shit. If I offer, let's use Sean O'Malley as an example. If I offer Sean O'Malley a 5-round main event versus Umar Nurmagomedov, and he said no, I would strip him of his ranking straight away and make him crawl back up those rankings. I'm not fucking around here. Why would you say no? Why would you say fucking no? Oh no, I don't want to fight Umar, man. I want to fight give me Cejudo. Fuck off. No, you're going to fight who I fucking say you're going to fight. Okay? Fighters have too much say now. I hate saying it, they do. They have too much say, okay? You should be told who you're going to fight, when you're going to fight, where you're going to fight, as long as you're able, okay? If you're able, let's say you're like, I want to fight. I'm good. Book me. I'm going to tell you when, I'm going to tell you where, and I'm going to tell you who. End of story. You're not going to say, oh, well, I want to fight them. This, you know that Cheeto shit that happened? That would not have flown on my watch, okay? Gio got lucky that there was no real number one contender and he kind of slid in, you know what I mean? I'm not, who cares? But this thing of turning down fights and you're a ranked fighter, look at Peter Yan. Peter Yan's fighting, I can't even remember the geezer's name, McGee. He's like ranked 15th and Yan's like ranked 3, coming off 2 wins. Davison Figueiredo and Song Yadong, he's fighting down. That's the shit I love. That's why Peter Yan is Peter fucking Yan, okay? I love that shit. But some people just flat out reject fights. And I have fucking no time for it. I have absolutely no time. I have absolutely no room. And if you're a ranked UFC fighter, I will be removing you from the rankings. And you're going to fight unranked for a while. To teach you a fucking lesson. Now, there is taking the piss. Like, if Yan had turned down that fight, I would have probably said, yeah, fair enough. But if you're O'Malley in that situation, you turn down Umar. I don't care. Or you turn down a Corey Sandhagen. You want to fight maybe Song Yadong? Some shit like that. That's not going to slide. That's not going to slide. Okay? You give them too much, they're going to take everything. You need to tell them who they're going to fight. There's number one contenders for a reason. Movsar Evraev was fighting Aaron Pico. We know Movsar should be next for the belt. And I said in my video, actually, I was like, don't rule out Movsar for the rest of the, excuse me. Fucking hell. Don't rule out Movsar for the next title shot. And I saw someone say there's a possibility that could happen in November. A double headline with JDM. I would love that. I would love that. But Movsar deserves it. Fucking, some of the memes I've been seeing are fucking crazy. But Scoring system is the next one. Both points on both ends is what I have written down now. So, what I mean by this is, we all know damage is king. But a lot of wrestlers, stall their way to a win. If you're cage controlling someone, and cage control isn't even a good example because it's just stalling up against the cage. But let's say you're shooting let's say it's a very close round, okay? And both done quite similar amount of damage, maybe a leg kick here and there to the other guy, but you've done similar amount of damage, okay? And it's kind of hard to tell. If fighter A is shooting takedowns and fighter B is stuffing them, fighter B is defending them, fighter B is doing a lot better than fighter A, I think points should be given to that fighter, in my opinion. I feel like if you're shutting someone's attack down, then you should be given points. If it's kind of a round where it's very close. But if the fighter gets you down, they're given points. I understand it's hard to take people, or it's hard to take someone down, but it's hard to take, the whole thing of you're in a defensive mindset. Someone's attacking you and defending, and if you defend it successfully and you're back on the striking, I always said I don't understand why there's not points given for that. If you're able to just let's say someone gets you up against the cage and you're able to reverse, points should be given for that. But no one ever says anything about it. Do you know what I mean? But obviously damage is king. I feel like in scoring system, obviously the higher you go in the body, the more effective, and more points you're going to get. You know what I mean? No one's really, if it's a really close round, leg kicks are kind of, no one really, I don't look at leg kicks as a massive factor. Do you know what I mean? Unless it's unless he goes down. Do you know what I mean? But if someone goes down with a punch compared to a leg kick, we both know which does more damage. You know what I mean? Body kicks as well, I think they're very effective as well. Not many people talk about them. But I feel like points need to be given on both ends. Not points for just giving takedowns, but defending takedowns, sprawling, shit like that. I think is vastly overlooked. Do you know what I mean? And I actually had this debate with my friend in work today, and he said, oh, well, then you should be given points for defending punches. Not really. It's a bit different. Unless, you block, a kick with your elbow and shit. That's a bit different. I would look at that and say very good defense. Obviously, offense is where you're going to do all your points, but if it's a very close round and nip and tuck, I feel like you should be given points for defending yourself, especially if it's damaging the opponent. Let's say I block a fucking kick with my elbow. That's going to hurt them bad. Do I not deserve some sort of points? Do you know what I mean? So I feel like points on both ends are a good thing. Next up, we have less events, better cards. The fight nights have been so tragic, man. Derek Lewis at the weekend wasn't exactly terrible, but still. Fucking Aaron Blanchfield in a main event in 2025 against Macy Barber that didn't even happen. Who the fuck asked for that? Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like I wouldn't even say skim loads of shit off. I'm not gonna say 2 events per month. No, nothing like that. But those kind of fight nights don't need to happen. You can use those fighters, okay? Because we obviously have Gamrot and stuff like that. You can branch them out onto pay-per-views, onto bigger fight nights. I think Apex once every 3 months is fine. A fight, a card is so much better when I know it's going to be in a big arena and there's just more hype to it. Apex events, when's the last good Apex event? I couldn't even tell you. TJ Dillashaw, Corey Sandhagen, maybe? I actually don't know. I don't fucking know, man. I don't fucking know, but less events. Stack the cards more. It's going to make us hyped as fans. No one cares and no one watches Aaron Blanchfield versus Macy Barber's fight night card. Do you know what I mean? The Derek Lewis card, bro, who cares? Do you know what I mean? The fans, no one asked for it. Do you know what I mean? But we're asking for more stacked pay-per-views. We're asking for bigger events. We're asking for better fight night cards. This is how you do it. You're using all those fighters that are kind of branched out and putting them into a card. Do you know what I'm saying? So that makes more sense to have less cards. Maybe 2 or 3, 4, 2 between, up to 4 events less per year. Just look at the fight nights and see which are fucking shit. Okay? Look at the fight nights and see, okay, do we really need that as a fight night main event? Is the fan interest going to be there? Where can we slot this in? Is this an early prelim on a pay-per-view? Because a lot of fucking fight nights are. Okay? A lot of fucking fight nights are. Is this an early prelim on a pay-per-view? Is this, gonna really draw in casuals? Fuck no, it's not. Fight nights never do. But at least we can have some stacked fight nights that watch with your friends on a Saturday. I feel like something like, even like a main event like Corey versus Figgy, I'll use an example. I'm a big Corey Sandhagen fan, so I do like, using him as a good example. That's a good fight night main event. But I also think fight night main events need to have a lot of kind of juice in them. They need to have some juice. A number one contender fight. UFC say this is a number one contender fight for, Arman Tsarukyan is going to be fighting, Max Holloway, let's say he wins. It's a main event. It's a fight night. It's in a big arena. And Dana White came out and said the winner is guaranteed to get a title shot next. Boom. Then you put on, the Mateus Gamrots on that card. Then you can put on even the Corys on that card. Do you know what I'm saying? So the fight nights that are shit, put them onto that. And then that's how you stack it. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's common sense. I don't need to see a fight night every week. I don't, bro. I don't. It saves me breaking down shit fucking cards, if I'm being honest with you. I try to break down every single card the UFC has, and I've done a good job of that this year. But some of them are just so fucking tragic, man. So tragic. But last but not least, number 6, promotion. The UFC is in a promotion drought. And I saw Brendan Shaw talking about this on I don't know, TikTok or Instagram. I don't give a fuck. But he was saying the reporters are just so wank. And he's so right. The media that are there are just so shit. They never ask good questions. They never ask questions we want to ask. Oh, Dana, is John Jones going to fight at the White House? No one asks. No one cares. That's not going to happen. John Jones retired last week. What the fuck are you asking that kind of a question for? Why? Why don't we find out what's next for Arman Tsarukyan? Why don't we find out what's next for Arman Tsarukyan? Why don't we find out is Pereira going to fight Ankalaev next? What's the story with Pereira? When is Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane going to get announced? Who's the headliner for MSG? Is Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena going to happen? Because he usually gives like little hints. He could be like a Tuesday. Look at you. That's how you know a fight's booked. But no, you ask about John Jones in the White House. Fucking bullshit. But the media's not really what I'm at here. The promotion aspect of, we never get face to faces, bro. We never get people sitting down face to face. And you really got that bad blood. And some fighters don't like each other, and we just have fucking no clue about it because the UFC won't tell us. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not up to us as fans to find that out. It's up to you as a company to tell us. And the Till versus Masvidal, that's the perfect one. They did like, a mini embedded for that. They did the face off and shit like that. That's how you do it. That's how you fucking do it. They did Max Holloway versus Ilia Topuria over Zoom. Zoom, bro. Why don't we get like a Makhachev versus JDM sit down? He's lame. Great fighter. Brother, who give you belt? Brother, I smashed this guy. Oh yeah, you smashed me, mate. You fucking hell. You blast that same thing. I'm not even sure if seeing Gary's son. And the Makhachev go, who's that? Who you talking about? You talking about me? You know what I mean? Like, that was really fucking stupid, but some shit like that to get a chuckle, to get the fans hyped. If I saw like a Makhachev versus JDM face-off, I'd be all over it. Get face-offs going. Get us hyped. Countdown's cool. Embedded is... I don't really watch fucking Embedded, if I'm being honest with you, but more shit like that. Better questions at the fucking press conference as well. Press conferences just don't cut it nowadays. Okay? They're fucking boring. Dana, when can we see the White House, man? And the Nelk boys as well. Listen, I don't mind the Nelk boys. They seem fairly fucking, harmless enough. They feel fucking idiots, like. But I do like their content and I do find them funny. So I do have good things to say about the Nelk boys. But we want to see fighter face-offs. We want to see promotion. We want to see you backing fighters. We want to see, massive Instagram reels about highlight KOs of Tom Aspinall and, Cyril Gane's movement all around the cage and how it's going to be a problem for Tom. And I don't know. I feel like the UFC are just missing out. But like, subscribe. Thanks for watching.